Bujins are here and we are going to unleash their power with Exceed Summoning. Let's do this!
It's time to do.
Bujin Yamato is the main card of the stack. Once per turn during your end phase, you can add a Bujin monster from your deck to your hand and send one card from your hand to the graveyard. There are two kinds of Bujins and Bujingis. Bujingis are either hand traps or the monsters that can activate their effects from your graveyard if you control a Beast Warrior Bujin type monster. Normal Bujins are Beast Warrior, Bujingis are Beast type monsters. Only hand trap I am playing in this deck is the best hand trap in my opinion, Bujingi Crane. During damage calculation in either player's turn, if a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster you control battles an opponent's monster, you can send it from your hand to the graveyard and double your monster's attack. It's either player's turn, as I said earlier. You can surprise them if you didn't reveal them by adding Bujin Yamato's effect, or some players didn't even read. So, other Bujin cards we are using are Bujin Hirume. It cannot be normal summoned or set, must first be special summoned from your hand by banishing a Bujin from your graveyard, and if it gets destroyed by your opponent's card by battle or card effect and sent from field to the graveyard, if you and your opponent has a hand means at least one card at each player's hand, you can discard a card and make your opponent discard a card, which is pretty good. And the last Beast Warrior Bujin we are using is Bujin Arasuda. If a Bujin monster in your graveyard or face up on your side of the field is banished, you can special summon it from your hand in face up defense position. So if you special summon a Hirume by banishing a Bujin monster from your graveyard, you already have Arasuda in your hand. You can special summon it and make your Xyz plays. Its other effect is during the end phase, if a Bujin card was added from your deck to your hand this turn, which is either by a Yamato or a Susanowo's effect, and while you was controlling this face-up card, you can draw a card and discard a card. As for Bujingis, like I said earlier, they activate their effects from your graveyard. If you control a Beast Warrior type Bujin monster, all Bujin monsters are Beast Warrior, all Bujingis are Beast type monsters. So, if you have a Centipede in your graveyard, you can banish it to target a spell or trap card your opponent controls and destroy it. If you have a Bujingi Quilin in your graveyard, you can banish it from your graveyard and target one face-up card your opponent controls, destroy it. And if you have Bujingi Hare in your graveyard during either player's turn, you can banish it from your graveyard and target a Beast Warrior Bujin monster you control. Once during this turn, it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects, protect your monster. The reason why we are using Crimson Fox in this deck is because we are abusing Caninetaur. Once per turn, if it battles an opponent's monster during damage calculation in either player's turn, you can send a Beast, Beast Warrior or Winged Beast monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard, and if you do, it gains the attack equal to the sent monster's level times 100 until the end phase. So if you send a Crimson Fox, if Crimson Fox gets sent to the graveyard by a card effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls, its attack becomes 0, and because that it's in the damage step, if they have attacked you, which is the case, they cannot recall their attack, they will swing into you with 0 attack, or you can simply send the other Bujingi monsters that can activate their effects from your graveyard. This card is really good in this deck. We are using Photon Lead to make more Xyz plays. Special summon 1 level 4 or lower light monster from your hand in face-up attack position. It's not once per turn. Cosmic Cyclone is for taking out the back row and triggering our skill. We are using Light and Dark. What it does is, if you lose 1000, return a dark monster from your hand to your deck and add a light monster from your deck with the same level and type as that monster from your deck to your hand. And if you return a light, you can add a dark monster. It can be used once per turn and twice per duel. You want to summon your Bujin Xyz monsters, and Crimson Fox is not a Bujin monster and you need it in your deck because you want to use it with your Caninetaur. You use Cosmic Cyclone or your opponent attacks you and triggers your skill, you return your Crimson Fox from your hand to your deck and add the Bujin monster you want from your deck. You can only add level 4 Beast Warriors, I mean Bujins. You can add Yamato or Hirume or Arasuda, it's your choice, which is cool. This deck gets played with Bujin Yamato, so you need it. It's a great way to get it if you have opened up with Crimson Fox and a Cosmic Cyclone. We are also using 4 traps, they can be whatever you want. Bujin Regalia, it's the archetypal trap card card, you can activate one of these effects, target a Bujin monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand, or target one of your banished Bujin monsters, return it back to your graveyard. You can return Bujingi monsters that can activate their effects from your graveyard and use their effect again. As for Xyz Bujins, Susanowo, you need 2 level 4 Bujins to summon it. It can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Once per turn, you can detach one Xyz material from it and take a Bujin card from your deck and either add it to your hand or send it to your graveyard. You can send them to your graveyard and activate their effects, or you can add it to your hand and summon it. You can only use this effect once per turn. As for Tsukuyomi, you can detach one Xyz material, send your entire hand to the graveyard. You need to send at least 1 card, and if you do, draw 2 cards. So if you have spells and traps and a monster that you want to activate its effect from your graveyard, basically set your spells and traps, activate Tsukuyomi's effect, send that monster to your graveyard, draw 2 more cards, and if it leaves the field because of an opponent's card effect, you can target level 4 Beast Warrior type Bujin monsters up to the number of Xyz materials this card had on the field and special summon those targets. And we are playing 3 more Xyz cards. Utopia, when any player's monsters declares an attack, it can negate attack by detaching 1 Xyz material. It's not once per turn. Gagaga Samurai, once per turn you can detach 1 Xyz material from it. It can attack 2 times this turn while you control this card. When another monster you control is targeted for an attack and it's in attack position, you can change the attack to this card and change Gagaga Samurai to defense position and perform damage calculation. The last Xyz monster we are playing requires 3 level 4 monsters, so it's hard to summon. While it has an Xyz material, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects. When you normal or special summon a monster, they cannot activate Void Trap Hole or Floodgates. Once per turn, you can detach 1 Xyz material from it, target a card on the field and destroy it. Last effect isn't needed because this is not a Stellar Knight deck. That deck is coming after this video, stay tuned. The other 3 traps we are using is Fiendish Chain, activated by targeting 1 effect monster on the field, negate the effects of it and it cannot attack. Karma Cut, discard a card, target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, banish it, and banish all the copies from your opponent's graveyard. All of the, when an opponent's monster declares an attack, all attack position monsters your opponent controls lose 800 attack for each monster they control. If they have 3 monsters and they have swinged with one of them to you, all of their monsters will lose 2400. It's really good. You can play whatever trap you have or you want though. You can even play Bujin Regalia at 2 or 3 copies if you don't have these traps. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the rest of the video.